Development Center, EDC, of the Pan-Atlantic University in January 2003, a model which has been replicated in 4 African countries: Ghana, Kenya, Tanzania, and Rwanda. As the director of the center, he is responsible for the overall program development, capacity building, and support services for entrepreneurs. He trained as a mechanical engineer in the UK with an MBA from IESE Business School in Spain. His over 28 years cognate experience spans both the public and private sectors, including the oil industry, water supply, and education. He currently leads the Goldman Sachs 10,000 Women Initiative in Nigeria, Diamond Bank's Building Entrepreneurs Today BET, and a number of other partnerships in Nigeria, including the federal government of Nigeria's Grooming Entrepreneurs Leaders and National Business Planning Competition, UWIN. With the support of the Coca-Cola African Foundation, he is currently developing a new generation of NGO leaders in Nigeria. A certified business edge trainer for IFC, the private arm of the World Bank, and the UNCTAD, expert on entrepreneurship education. Mr. Peter Bankole consults widely in sub-Saharan Africa on entrepreneurship development and practice. He's a member of the University Management Council. Please put your hands together for our presenter this morning, Mr. Peter Bankole. Make it louder, make it louder.
Sorry, I'm trying to look for the... okay. Okay, good morning, youths. I see some people with white beard. They should not answer when I say good morning, youth. Good morning, youth. Okay, you are forgiven. The doctor that came to bless us this morning, I think she's the youngest youth that I've ever seen. As she bounced, even I said to myself, I have to practice more. Well, thank you very much, Ma. It's a very tall act to follow you. Most of the things that I wanted to say, you have covered it, so I'm just going to go to conclusion, and that way it will make my life a lot easier. But let me start by thanking first Mr. and Mrs. Adebayo for inviting me here. I've seen a few of my friends. Peter, Pastor Peter, I saw him. I don't know if he's still around. As I walked in this morning, I said, this is good. This is good because, yes, we need to develop our youth spiritually, but we also need to teach them how to do things well. They will compete in the real world, and so they need to reestablish different standards that are used with the framework of God in mind. I'm supposed to have started at 11, and I'm looking at the time, it's almost 12. So somebody need to remind me how long I need to spend. I'm struggling whether I should say this at the beginning or I should say it at the end, because I'm supposed to be talking about entrepreneurship and the Christian faith. And I had prepared my slide, I'd done everything, and then yesterday, I always look for the final touch. And then I stumbled on a Harvard Business School review program, research that was done. And I smiled, because the conclusion of that research is something that it didn't shock me as a Nigerian. But I'm sure in the United States, they are struggling with it. We don't struggle with it. So please, in case I forget, try to remind me, because I will tell you at the very end. So the way I'm going to go through this, I'm going to start, first of all, going through the entrepreneurial mindset. And then I'm going to share with you the framework for delivering enterprise value. And then after that, I will give an example using what we all know, which is Uber. It is the same thinking, and you can apply this to whatever business that you run. And then I will share a few thoughts about the intersection between entrepreneurship and our faith. And finally, I will give you some takeaways. Hopefully, I will remember to also share this research thing. So in case I forget, please remind me. Also, this is very far from me. I am a very short-sighted person, even with these glasses. So sometimes I'm not seeing well the way you guys are seeing. So from time to time, I'm going to be turning like this, and it's going to maybe be okay. Okay. What do we mean by entrepreneurial mindset? I'm going to try and see if this can be a little bit interactive so that I don't have to talk. So I'm going to get like one or two youths. What is your understanding? When somebody says, this person has an entrepreneurial mindset, what do you mean by that? Any volunteers? Let's see if we are going to follow the guidance of our MC. Who wants to take a shot at it? I've seen some of my students here apparently, so I'm noting you down. You may not pass graduates if you don't say something. That's not a threat, by the way. It's just a comment. So, who wants to give it a shot? What do we understand by entrepreneurial mindset? Any volunteers? Yes, sir. Please. Do we have a roving mic? Yes, let's hear from one or two and then we will move on.
Praise God.
Hallelujah.
My own understanding, an entrepreneur mindset is someone who has the mindset of selling product and also rendering services.
Okay.
Or money.
For money. All right. That's your definition. We need one more, preferably a lady. Thank you. So that, okay, don't worry. This one is my student. I won't ask her. Give another person, yes.
Thank you. My own understanding of entrepreneurial mindset, in an opportunity and industry that you're passionate about, and then creating business out of it.
Okay. If you want to clap, you can clap. But I think she's closer to what I was looking for. But entrepreneurial mindset, really, it's a way of thinking. It's a mindset. So it's a way of thinking and a set of attributes. And so I'm going to try to walk us through those attributes. I'm very glad that my speaker also mentioned things around attitudes and attributes of David, and you're going to see that here. But the whole idea is to be able to deliver success on a consistent basis. So whether it's seeing opportunities, but I want to say that it is not always with the end of having profit or money. No. In fact, these days, the entrepreneurs that we see are creating value, but instead of profit, they're actually creating social returns. And so it's a mix of the two. So I try to list about 10 attributes that as a person with entrepreneurial mindset, you must have at least 7 of these. So the more of this you have, the more entrepreneurial mindset you have. Which means that even if you start with 1, you can gradually build yourself up until you get to 10, if possible. And it's very interesting, the one I put there was what the lady said about opportunity recognition. You see, when others complain, you see the opportunity. So what every person could not see, David saw it. And so it's a classic entrepreneurial-minded person. The minute you see what there's so many people, they will look, but they cannot see. They will look, but they cannot see. I recall several years back when people used to go from Lagos to the east, and they traveled by road. And when they get to Ore, what normally happens? Their bus will just break down. They will eat, and to start again, they'll be looking for mechanic. So that's why in our area, you have plenty of mechanics, because they have to keep repairing buses and everything. And then one gentleman said to himself, everybody complains, and the standard thing is that you just go to the conductor, collect your money, at least the change, take the next bus and move. And it was okay, and people accepted it. But this gentleman said, no way. Instead of me doing this, there must be a way of starting from Lagos and finishing in Enugu predictably. There has to be. And that gentleman is Frank Neji, the creator of ABC Transport. And he redefined that space. Even after he started ABC Transport, a number of things happened. But I'm going to fast forward to when the buses became reliable. People could trust that if I say I will be in Onitsha by X 7 p.m., they will be there. And so they will go to the driver and say, Maker, please, help me take this parcel. My brother, on the other hand, will pick it up from you. And they will give a maker 500 naira. Or they will raise a maker. And this became a norm in the company. Until one day, like they say, Yawa gas. And the man found out that this was what they were doing. And then they called everybody together and said, how come you people didn't tell me this? And people were waiting, who's going to bail the card? And then somebody said, it was this person that started it. He said, come. Next time you see opportunity like this, let me know. We just placed orders for 50 buses. Instead of us doing the regular buses, we could have done what? The higher buses. So that we can put more parcels and things as part of that process. That led to the courier company, and today almost all the buses started doing exactly that. From there, that led again to them moving across borders because they could move predictably. Opportunity recognition is about you seeing what others cannot see and creating value for it. We will also come to that. The next, please can you, yeah. The next is curiosity. Curiosity is very important when you talk about entrepreneurship. Curiosity is what? The desire to learn, to see, to want to know. And as an entrepreneur, you must be curious. Not the same one that kills the cat, but you have to be curious. Because it is in that, it's about discovery. When you are curious, you are self-motivated. And you'll say, I want to learn. I want to see. I want to know what is happening. Without being curious, you will probably continue to sleep on the bed. Madam, I like that analogy. Because anybody that is moving or walking, it is difficult. Even if poverty is not overtaking you, it will not catch you whichever way you look at it. So it is very important to be curious. After being curious, the next one is initiative and autonomy. Now, this one is very interesting. For young people, and it's not in our own time, we don't like, I'm not sure, I don't think we are as quick to being autonomous the way this younger generation want to be autonomous. At age 20-something, most of them want to run and run faster than, most of us. But it's interesting. If you run and run well, we will also learn from you. I have 3 companies today that I'm so excited about. One, and you can Google them, one is Softcom. This company, they have over 206 employees. The average age is 27. 27. And then, you are still sitting down here and looking for one colonel to connect. Hello? You have to wake up. If they can do it, why can't you? If they can do it, why can't you? As I was still telling that story, somebody shared with me 2 days ago that they have one company, I can't remember the name, that they had about 70-something staff and the average age was 23. I said, wow, it's getting serious. Today, every summer period, we try to bring in young persons for internships. And this year, the average age was like 17, 18. And we have about 8 of them. And as I watch them, the way they are building up their work ethics and the kind of output that they are generating, I said to myself, if we repeat this thing 3 times while these guys are going through university, I am telling you, they will be a different person. And their standard will be different. Last year, I had one of the parents whose child was close to 16, but wasn't 16 yet. And in our university, you have to be 16 before you start your undergrad. Ordinarily, what will people do? They will change the age of the child. And you are teaching the child something bad from day one. A lot of the challenges that youth face today, I can tell you, is parents that are responsible for it. But the youths themselves must grow up and do the right thing. So this boy said, let me work for 1 year. And then if they hold my admission, I will join next year. After all, 17 is still a young age. This boy worked with us for 1 year. Today, he's moving to the 2nd year. And they told me that there is something different about this boy. He's tall, very responsible, quiet, and the way he approaches life has changed. That 1 year. And I understood it thereafter. Because in the UK, when they tell us, oh, take a gap year, I said, what do you mean by gap year? We are still struggling to finish school. Let them finish school on time. What is gap? Let's take the gap afterward. But it makes a lot of difference because they learn. And for parents that are here, please insist that your children must do holiday job, do internship every year till they finish. When my son turned 16 and they went and they did this, one day we were traveling. And so they do all kinds of odd jobs then. It doesn't matter, they were young people. So he was working in a bar. So they were serving people, and the money was not a lot, and that wasn't the reason why he was doing it. One day we were traveling, and we had lunch. When we finished, I got the bill, I paid, and then I wanted to go. And my son said, Dad, are you not going to give him tip? I said, but I've paid the bill now. He said, no, that's not what I'm saying. Then he dipped his hand into his pocket and gave the guy £1. I learned a lesson. Today, I never go without giving a tip. Because it reminded me that that tip meant so much to them beyond the value that we see. That it's a clear appreciation of the service that they have provided. And so, it wasn't the £1 or £5. I never learned that in school. I never learned that until he taught me. And so sometimes it's important for us to listen. But But coming back again, youths like, and entrepreneurs in particular, they like to be autonomous. In fact, for those of them that are in the tech space, they have a whole world of their own. These guys will sleep when everybody else are awake. They will wake up when everybody else is asleep, as if their life is in US and Canada. And what they do, they just manage their lives. Think about it. But number 4 for me is the very interesting one. Because you can never talk about entrepreneurship or enterprise mindset without being creative. I know he's the very, very first person that is really and truly creative. Who? God the Father. Genesis 1, all through to 31. The story of creation. You know, each time I wonder about the human person, and I said, how can anybody design the human person better than the way God has designed us? Just take the parts one by one. Start with the heart. Have you ever seen the heart in operation? The way it works. Pumping and controlling where the blood flows, how? Or let's even leave that one. The brain, with all the signaling systems and all the cables and wires that they call nerves. If something happened to one, in less than 3 minutes, you are dead. God is the most creative person that you can ever think of. And when he created us in his image and likeness, what does it mean? We have to be creative ourselves. In fact, for me, that is the first indication that we must be entrepreneurs. It's the very first one. Because if you are not creative, you cannot do things differently. So you will see somebody with pure water and you go and do pure water. That doesn't make sense. You should look at that pure water and say, what can I do better that this person is not doing? That's how your creativity comes in. Or what value proposition you are making. We're going to come into that very soon. I'm going to take all of this very quickly. Ability to create value, I'm going to do that later on. Problem solving. One that I will talk about is never to think that you do not have resources. And most people talk about money. The reality is that money is important for entrepreneurs, but is the least important thing. And I say this with all sense of seriousness. If you have good idea, if your idea creates value, money will follow that idea. I use the example of EDC, which we started some 17 years ago. We did not have 1 naira. Not. The university promised me that they will give me salary for 1 year, and that was all. I didn't even have a desk. I didn't have a chair. So I used to sit with the research assistants, and they would just manage. Fast forward 17 years afterwards, 16. This has been the model that we started, has been recreated in 6 institutions in 4 African countries. Not only that, the cash that we said we never had, today we give the cash out because we're able to do value. Once you have, you can create value. Even people will bring their money and they will give you. We're going to share some of that thoughts very soon. So I'm going to skip and move on and do the framework for delivering this value that I talk about. Some of the things I've skipped there, we're going to see it in the next few slides. So I'm going to use what they call the business model canvas. It's a very simple tool that has about 9 compartments where you say to yourself, what value am I creating? Usually that's where to start. Once you know the value you are creating, you say to yourself, who are you creating this value for? That will be your customers. And I'm going to share this hopefully towards the end, how Christianity has been maybe the best enterprise venture that we have seen. Because all elements around venturing is embedded in the Christian mission, if you want to put it that way. So the customers, and how do we reach those customers? The channel of distribution. How do we relate with these customers? We will share that as we go. This is just an overview. And then you will look at the key activities or those or the partners which you must work with to be able to deliver the value. Then we go all the way to what it costs you to deliver the value, and finally, what you earn in exchange for that value. Now, the reason why I love the business model canvas is that it's one-page snapshot, and you can see everything. And we will use an example of Uber, which I'm sure most of you are very comfortable with. Let me start with the value proposition. Which goldfish do you see? What is different about the green one? How come it's the green one you see first? Sorry? It's just different. And so, as an entrepreneur, it's very important for you that whatever value you want to create, it must not be like everybody else's. Because you will be like the other goldfish. But the minute there is something different about you, then you will see that without talking, without shouting, people will locate you. People will locate you. So, it is absolutely important that you are delivering a value that people can see. Secondly, what we found out is that if you are solving a problem, if you are solving a genuine problem, people will come after you. Even if you don't have money, people will come after you. You know, it used to be very difficult to look for taxi. Where are they? Blah, blah, blah. When you even get the taxi, you don't know how much it's going to cost. And Uber decided to solve that problem, isn't it? Once you can get a problem analyzed properly and create a solution, forget about the money. It will flow. Okay? One thing that people always ask me when we talk about venturing is that they say, oh, can I create something completely new? You don't have to. You don't have to. The people that started fast food business, I saw one of the entrepreneurs and I said, this is new. He said, no. That my grandmother used to sell rice and chicken, but I'm just selling it in a different way. She will ask you, what do you want? Do you want buy? I say, but, and then there are flies going around and all kinds of things. When we were growing up too, we used to buy meat pie in show glass. How many of you know about show glass? Okay, we have some not so young people in this house. And in those show glasses, it's not correct if there is no one fly inside. Because the fly must be revolving around the bulb. There's always a bulb inside. See this one, he's laughing very well. He has been eating show glass. But he said, no. We want to take that experience and have a different experience. So it's the same meat pie. It's the same rice and chicken. It's the same. In fact, some people are doing amala now, and they are calling it amala coded. I say, is it not the same amala? They packaged it. So people like you will eat it with pride. There was one WhatsApp video that was shared recently, and I saw people in one party in London. If you see the way they were queuing up for amala, you will wonder. But it's all about packaging. All right? So it's the newness, what is different from what everybody else is doing, that you are doing. So value proposition is always the most important one. And if you can get it right, the chances are that you will move more than everybody else. The second thing I'm going to talk about is customer segmentation. And I'm just going to use this. I'm going to use one example that I always use, which is the airline industry. But let's start with the mass market. Mass market means whatever value you are creating it for everybody. It doesn't matter. People buy it, they take it. So you also need to understand very clearly what type of market you are addressing. If your market is mass market, don't go and set up in Lekki or VI because it does not match. Go to where human beings, sorry, there are human beings here. I was going to say go to where human beings are, but I forgot that there are also human beings here. The reality is that there are plenty people. If you go to mainland, real mainland, if I'm not mentioning any location, you will see people. In fact, one Indian was telling me that, see, he doesn't understand Nigerians. That all you need to do is to look for anything that ordinary people will buy for 50 naira. That's all. And the profit is 10 naira. I said, yeah. And what happened? He said, all he needs to do is sell 1 million of that thing every day. I said, this Indian man, you are a thief. That means every day you are selling 50 million. Every day you are making profit of 10 million. I said, do you do Saturday and Sunday? He said, every day is business. I look at the man. So 30 times, calculate it yourself. All right. So that's mass market. If it's niche market, then you can come to a place like this. Because then we package it very well. Not everybody will buy it. But those that want to buy, what will they do? They will pay for it. Okay? So if you are doing something that is a niche market, please do not go to certain locations. Even if it is Lekki, Ekpe axis. It is not everywhere along this axis that you can sell niche to. There is a place called, let me not say, it's Jack on the area. If you enter small, that one is different. It's not part of niche. I'm just telling you. So don't say because people have that address of Lekki Ekpe, there are some, they are supposed to be in mainland. But there's a way God situates people. Now, segmented is very interesting, and this is where I will use the airline. The segmented is that we are in the same boat, but we are different. It's very interesting. So you will see we are all taking the same airplane from Lagos to London, Virgin Atlantic. But there are some people in the front, they call it the nose. People at the back, they call it what? The tail end. And some people in the middle. It's the same aircraft. Abi? We are going to land the same time. So why do people pay different money? Why? What is different? It's the same time you are touching down. It's the same. What is this, a lie? Is it not true? Oh, you people have tried. In the same fish, you will see that they will tell you the head is better than the tail. Because at home in those days, I don't know whether they still do it. They say, don't give that head to anybody. I think it's the woman that always take the head. Oh, things have changed now. I don't know. Anyway, in my own house, my wife likes the head. I don't eat the head. So, those people that they don't have plenty money, they have to look at how much the cheapest, they will pre-board them. The plane is leaving at 11 now. By 9, they will tell them, we are now boarding. They will start boarding them to another seat or rows. They will sit down there. Meanwhile, the people at the fish head, where are they? They are in the lounge. They are drinking champagne. They are having breakfast. They are doing everything. When it is 30 minutes to go, they will tell those people, you may now begin to board. And please go to the front of the queue. It's legal. They paid for it. And then you will see them, and I always look at those people that take Virgin Atlantic. I think you take Virgin Atlantic. I've seen you a few times. When they are going, they wear checked shirts, as if they have code. They wear checked shirts with blazer. It must have this golden ring. They have badge. And then they will pull that and they will just be going. There is a way they walk. Pray that you get to that level. It's very important. Because when they even enter, so you will just be seeing them, say, we that we have been here 1 hour, sweating. They will walk past you. When they walk past, they will sit. In fact, before they sit down, they say, orange juice or champagne? And then as they were doing it, one guy was following. He said, Madam, can I have one? He said, no, go to your seat. So in the same plane, we have people that, yes, we will land at the same time. We will, but it's a different experience. And that's why they are able to sell differently in terms of pricing. The diversified one, again, is like, to one person, you can sell so many things to them. I use hotel is a classic example where if I'm traveling for business, my personality is different if I am traveling with my family for a holiday. It's also different if I'm just doing a stopover. So to the same person, they can sell different things to that same person and the person will be happy. And that is why you see hotel chains today with different quality levels, standards, and offerings. And one person can buy all of that. And as you buy it, you have different points that goes with it. So understand the customers you want to sell to and be sure that you meet their needs appropriately. The third one is channels. How do you get to these customers? So we have created the value. We know the customers we want to reach. Now, how do we reach these customers? When we were growing, how many of you know about Ghana High? Ghana High Commission. What do they do there? I said commission, High Commission. I think this church, there is something unique about you people. They give visa. It's food. High Commission, it means that it's Peter, it's food. It's a sophisticated. Now, this is how people take over other people's names and everything. Those women, they have adopted Ghana High Commission now. But when we're growing up, they're very popular. And you know, parents, you will tell stories to your children. And I did. And one day, when my daughter was doing internship, came back in Ikoyi. So I was worried, like most parents, the driver will drop her. What will you eat? How will you eat? Should they bring food? She said, don't worry, Dad. You remember when you used to tell us about Ghana High? I said, And said, that's what I'm going to be eating. He said, no, you cannot. How will you get there? What will you do? He said, I should calm down. That there's this website. And in fact, there are 3 websites that once she orders, she will get an alert. She knows the Okada man that is bringing and how long and everything. I said, Ghana High? He said, yes. But she said, don't worry. It's not those women. That there are some young people who also want to reach out to a different set of audience. The young people, and they know we will not go there. And so they created these websites and they deliver it to them. I said, wow. That's what they call channels. Because if you want to reach a different segment, you have to follow the channel that is appropriate to them. The day that I opened one bank account, and I was very proud that I was going to take my welcome package. What was that welcome package? One nice letter or something, plus checkbook designed for you. And my daughter said, what? Checkbook. What's that? I said, it's an English word. It's an instrument that you use to. He said, that's not what I'm asking. But who uses it today? Who? I said, what do you mean? Checkbook, you write, I didn't understand. I said, this life has changed. I went. I proudly collected it. And guess what happened? In 4 years, I have written 4 checks. And I transact on this account minimum 10 transactions in a week. Minimum. Sometimes 20. Yet, I write 1 check. And that check is deliberate. I have to be very intentional. Otherwise, it might be 1 in 2 years. It's about channels. It's about channels. Okay? So how do you reach them? Customer relationship is also very important. And as you think about the business you want to do, or as you reflect on the business that you are currently doing, it's very important for you to think through how do you relate with those you are going to be serving. So there are different options there. It could be self-service. And I see today that most of the time, people do a lot of self-service. I don't know if you've traveled to some destinations in the world today. You will not even meet human beings there. So I got my first shock when I was going to Canada recently. And then to check in, there was no human being. It was just machine. Put your passport. Put your this. I said, this thing is not good now. Why are they treating us like this? Meanwhile, as I was still complaining, I just saw some people, they're gone. They are okay with it. It's only people in my generation that still have to reflect on it. There is the mobile banking, 24/7. What does it do to us? It puts us in control. Before, every morning, I have to remember the night before when I'm going to work that who do I need to pay? What do I need? I will write all those things. Then my driver, I will give him the check. As I'm doing something in the office or I'm teaching, he will go, he will do this. What kind of wahala is that? Then there are certain levels they will say they are trying to reach me. I have to confirm. And then my driver will wait there for 3 hours until I'm able to confirm all kinds of things. When I'm traveling, and I travel a lot, I will have to give one of my staff, the one that I trust most, I will give her money, cash. I will say, in case of anything, I will tell you who to pay, since you have the money and you're on ground. Today, does it make sense? Forget it, it doesn't. Because I have the phone, and my phone I transfer in 1 second. In fact, I have like 6 apps. If this one is misbehaving, I move to this one. If this one is not functioning, I move to another one. They say, maintenance, something is down. What's my problem? I move to another one. And so I don't put my eggs in one basket. I spread it. Because I also know Nigerian banks. That's supposed to be complimentary, by the way. Now, there are some people that require personalized relationship. And this happens in so many, in the banking industry, in the airline industry, very personalized. And some people enjoy it. If you've ever gone on upper class, first class, even to carry your own handbag, somebody will carry it for you. And then they will be like your chaperone until you sit down. You say, what kind of life is this? You're already disabled, though, with your money. But some people like it. There are some times, and I also fall into that season, when I'm traveling, I like personalized service, especially when I'm traveling with my wife. As we are in the car about to, I will give her my passport, I give her everything. I don't think again. She will do everything. Me, I will just follow. Even I don't look at the sign where we are going. Can you imagine? If I'm traveling on my own, I will look. But once he's familiar with it, what concerns me? You can't miss road now. If you miss road, we miss together as family. It's okay. So people that look for personalized service, that's what happened to them. They can't think. They just say, anything you do is okay. They say, man, no, I've already sorted it out. Da, da, da. Even some banks, they did it. They created lounge. You will just sit down. As you sit down, they will be doing everything. Even those that are getting visa, the VFS people, they created one place for them. You will sit down. Oh, you haven't filled this one. Sign here. You don't know that you are supposed to sign here. They will bring you sign. Personalized service. Okay? They will charge you for it, no problem. Sorry, what happened to it? It's still searching. Okay. So, but the last one, which is co-creation, we do it a lot. Because before, they will do expression of interest, we will call for proposals, blah, blah, blah. But more and more, we are seeing that it's not working well. So after building some kind of relationship with those that we serve, they will call us and we will sit down. And they will say, this is what we want to achieve. How can we together create a solution? That's what we call co-creation. And at the end of the day, you will see that it's a better outcome than what either we alone could have done or they alone could have done. So you have to understand which kind of relationship you want to have with the people that you serve. So can you please bring this back up again? So now, I go quickly to a set of what we call the three keys. The three keys is around the activities, it's around the resources, and it's around the key stuff you will do. So let's start with activities. So in your business, there are certain activities you will be doing. So all you need to do is to reflect and list those activities. Now, those activities, look at it from the point of view of maybe your suppliers, from your customer, whatever it is. And once you understand those activities, then you can move very quickly to the key resources that you will require to be able to perform those activities. Now, those key resources, you need to look at it. So, for instance, if I am delivering educational services to people, I need to have a facility that can make learning enjoyable, very well, and all of that. Multimedia must work, so many things. So those are the facilities that it's a resource for me. I need to look at resource persons or professors or facilitators who will help me to deliver the content. So you have to look one by one those resources that you will require. And then the third of the three keys is actually the key partners. Today, in the real world, people are no longer doing everything by themselves. There's what we call the ecosystem thinking. There are some things I can do very well. There is something somebody else can do, the person can do very well. Why do I want to replicate what the person will do? Let the person do his own well, and I can manage together. That is why they say today, you have a big taxi company without taxis. You have big hospitality industry without houses or hotels, and so on and so forth. So working with partners help us to change the narratives. In all of this, you need to understand where the money is. So we say, show me the money. If you have done all of these things that I have said, and you are not seeing the money, it's just a hobby. You need to retweak what you are doing so you can deliver the revenue. Any business that you are doing that people cannot pay for, there is no value in it. You need to go back and rethink. And I have seen so many people in the same type of business. They are paying or willing to pay for one person, and they are not willing to pay for another. So it means that you have not tweaked that value proposition right enough to be able to get that. And then finally, you look at your cost structure. And where you have the highest cost, your eyes must be on it. And say, how do I bring this cost down? At the end of the day, it is always going to be revenue minus cost. That's what the margin is. The more you can either expand the margin or the margin times the volume that gives you the returns that you need. So those are the 9 things, and I'll give a very quick example. I hope, unfortunately, this is not coming on. For Uber, and I can talk through it. What value do we think that Uber created? So now I need the roving mic again. So I'm just going to walk through the... How many of us have taken Uber before? Okay. Who are the customers of Uber? The youth or the adults? Okay, we will come to that. What value, who wants to share? What value do you see in Uber? What value? Can we have the mic? Maybe two so that we can do it very quickly. What value is Uber providing today to us? Okay, who wants to? Okay, go ahead. Very quickly, let's start with the first person. Now, just give anybody. Who? Give the first person. Yeah, the lady. That's it. Give the other lady as well. Okay, safe, all right.
Mike.
Very good. Safe and convenient, yes. Easy to access. So if I want to leave here now, I just call Uber, somebody's there. Is that the only value that they provide?
On demand.
On demand, okay. What does that mean, by the way? Sorry.
If I want it now, I get it now.
You want it now, you get it now. Yes, sir. There is one that I'm looking for that somebody... Convenience is good, yes. Okay, before you even start the ride, you know how much it's going to cost you. There's one more I'm looking for and I'm still not getting. Yes, sir. The vehicle are unmarked, so it doesn't look as if you are not the one that owns it. Fantastic. It's very good. So always look, if I want to arrive here, I'll take Uber X. Everything is clean, correct. They say, wow, every day this guy is changing his car. Yes.
Prescott, one of the things I found out is most of the people may not know where they are going to, but the Uber drivers or the map will direct them to where they are going to.
Fantastic. Let me just move very quickly, because you are not talking about the other side. You are only focusing on the demand side. Yes.
Affordability.
Yes, it's cheap. Yes, sir. I want you to focus on the supply side.
Jobs for the drivers.
What?
Jobs for the drivers.
Constant jobs for the drivers, because they are not just roaming around. In fact, they can decide to sit in one place, they will get job. Supply side. Apart from them, what else? Supply side again.
Efficient fee calculation.
Yes, that's true. And so the drivers cannot even cheat the owners. What else? One more, then we move. Okay, so yes, sir. Okay, but I'm looking at the supply side. Let me quickly run through that. The owners of the asset, ordinarily, you just park it there. It's not generating. And there are a lot of people I know, the Uber will drive him to work. The guy sits at work from morning till night. So what does he do? He says, oh boy, just go. Once they drop him, starts Uber. If you are around, when I'm closing, you come back and pick me. If not, I will take another Uber. It's not a problem. Did you see the point? They are sweating the assets. Typically, we don't do that. Once you're a big man, you continue to do. So let's move from, so the type of customers. Who are the customers that Uber uses? Or that uses Uber? Who are the customers? Okay, let me give you the first one. You know, these young people, when they come back from abroad, what normally happens? We have to dedicate car, driver, this one to them. They mess up our schedule. They can't drive in Lagos. See many things. But with Uber, what happens? You free your life. In fact, if 3 of them want to go in 3 different directions, it's just Uber, finish. Everybody will go. But more importantly, there are some people that want to share the expense. The Uber has created this thing that 3 of us can take the same car and we will share the money. And it goes directly to our account. So there is no storyline. There's so many. And then there are some people, they like to do late nights. Yesterday was Friday night. They drink. Unfortunately, we've lost a few people who will go to the bar, to the lounge, and they come back, and they are still drunk and they want to drive. But with Uber, what happens? Even if the man, if you are snoring at the back, because you have pressed that in, he will take you to the front of your house, and he will just push you out. At least you are safe. You are safe. Let's move quickly to we talk about the channels. Of course, the way we relate is what? Is by mobile phone. So you can use your mobile and that's it. What kind of relationship do they create with us, Uber? What kind of relationship? It's very personal. They know you because you have to be registered before you get on Uber. They have your bank account details. It's only in Nigeria and one or two other places you can use cash. The rest, you have to use your card. But it's very interesting. Even for business travelers, I found Uber very, very useful. I don't use Uber in Nigeria because I don't need it. But the minute I am out of the country, I don't want to be having change. I don't know the exchange rate. I don't know anything. So I just use Uber, get to the point, it just deducts my card, and that's the end of the story. And usually, they're like half the price of what you will use from the hotel where you stay to anywhere else. How do they make their money? 20%. That 20% takes care of the technology and all these things. Who are their key resources, key partners? Of course, it's the drivers, the vehicle owners. Every business can be analyzed like this. And through this methodology, you can check whether truly your business can make money or not. Let me conclude because Cordelia has been on my case. Even the way she's looking at me, I don't like it. It's okay. But, we are we are on holy ground, so I forgive you. So, but yesterday, as I was telling you, I was reading Harvard Business Review. It's very interesting. They did research with almost 1,800 people. And this guy, Professor Michel Neubert, came up with this conclusion that entrepreneurs feel closer to God than the rest of us. Why do you think so? Why do people think that entrepreneurs feel closer? Think about it while I give you the connection between entrepreneurship and I'm okay, it's back on, fantastic. Okay, so I already talked about creativity. You see it, story of creation. That's it in the Bible, Genesis 1 to 31. Curiosity, very interesting. If you look at Proverbs, you'll see that. It is the glory of God to conceal things, but the glory of kings is to search them out. That's where entrepreneurs come in. Don't forget that we are a royal priesthood. In the Bible, again, you see what entrepreneurs focus on. They deliver value that is of quality. They deliver service that is above and beyond. And I love this particular passage in Colossians 3:23. In fact, when we celebrated our 15th year, I put it at the background because I wanted people to know. I know he's shaking his head. Whatever you do, work healthily as for the Lord and not for men. What that means, and it's a mantra for us, that if God is the main shareholder of my business, can I hide from him? It's not possible. Can I face something? You see pastor, you start shining something. Sorry. Even if you hide, God is still seeing you. So you will walk as if you're working for him diligently and doing the very best that you can. So Colossians 3:23. But others, entrepreneurship is around deferred gratification. It means you will work today, you will not earn immediately. You will wait for some time, just like the sower that plants and waits for the time of harvest. It's the same thing. For entrepreneurs, they must wait, defer that gratification until later, and talk about storing treasures where? In heaven. Entrepreneurship, you must still link it with God. God can bless you, but please do not remove God from your success. Like the rich fool. You remember the story of the rich fool? Of course, God blessed him. But he forgot that the giver of that blessing, he forgot the giver. And what happened? God called him. Now, entrepreneurship is about building and coaching your team. Jesus did it very well. He did his recruitment properly when he selected the apostles. And beyond that, 3 years, he was showing them the ropes. This is how you do, this is how you do. Until they went for expansion. We do expansion in business, don't we? When something is what we say, now, let's move. That's the Great Commission. Let's go. Ends of the world, all right? And then leadership. We saw that, and whilst leadership is something that is important in most businesses, for entrepreneurship venture that is going to be sustainable, we always refer to it as servant leadership. And then Christ also showed us that one the night before he died. Now, how many of you believe that entrepreneurs truly are closer to God than non-entrepreneurs? Okay, so I need two people. The one that believes and the one that doesn't believe. Please, one mic each. Which one is your own? You believe or you don't believe? You believe, one person. Please give her a microphone. Who doesn't believe? The unbeliever. No, sorry. Why are you putting it like this? It is not unbeliever. You are a believer, but you don't believe. Yes. Why do you think so?
I think so because our journey is very similar to Christ's journey. We go through the wilderness. First and foremost, we have a passion. Christ had a passion. He wanted to save the world. He wanted to save lives. He came here. We just dive our heads in. Christ dove. He just puts his head.
Are you running business right now?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
I'm running a business.
It looks as if your business is successful. Let me look for somebody that is saying Nigeria now. Wow.
I don't follow that. That's not
You
my
don't follow
mindset.
that one?
That's not my mindset.
Very good.
No
I
matter
like
how the country is, it doesn't affect me.
Very good. Very good.
I pull myself out from that mindset and I push myself forward. I don't care how the country is. I don't allow the factors.
You live
No,
in
I
this
don't.
area?
No, I
In
don't.
this area?
I don't. I stay on the mainland.
No problem.
Yes.
The reason, please sit down. A round of applause for her.
I'm not done.
Okay, where is one unbeliever? Sorry. One person that don't think that entrepreneurs are, okay, that person, please give it to the person. He doesn't believe that entrepreneurs are closer to God.
Okay,
Yeah.
I believe actually, but I want to talk from an aspect of a non-believer.
Okay, all right.
Okay, so
Go ahead.
I think from an unbeliever's perspective, he'll feel that being an entrepreneur, it has to do with creativity, it has to do with identifying opportunities and not thinking about the God factor, because
You focus on your own intelligence,
your own
and everything.
intelligence, and you feel
Okay.
that.
I think you're a good advocate for them. Now, the only thing I will say is that on that case, the person is still not a Nigerian. Because for entrepreneurs that are Nigerians, even when they are inside market, they say, God, let me sell today. Oh. They converse with God constantly. Constantly. If they sell, they say, Baba God, thank you. Oh. Every single move, they are always, I'm not joking. If it's Nigeria they created, you will see that entrepreneurs, they know that they are intelligent. They know that they are very innovative. They know that everything. But every day they make progress. They will say, we thank God today. Oh. They appreciate God. The day they are in trouble, what do they say? Say, God, please, you know how we are. Thank you very much.
I think it can be louder. I think it can be louder. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. You may sit down, please. Thank you. You see why you pay big money for such a lecture. But somehow, thank God, FOURSQUARE VGC, the whole district, made it possible for us to have this session. Okay, somebody, come take it back. Somebody is missing this. Is it yours? Check yourself. If it's yours. Is it yours? Even with glasses, you didn't say that you lost this one. Please give it to him. Identify yourself, your PIN number, everything before it. Okay, now, I promise that after each session, I would ask one small question. This time I have a little token here, and it will be for you. Just 3 people to answer. 3 people, because I have 3 gifts to give out right now. Wait, let me feel like EDC for a while. You remove it after. Okay. Now, we remember the markets, right? He talked about the markets, breaking it down. 5 segments, kind of. Do you remember that? Is the AC too much? Don't worry. Even big men, they are feeling the AC, so don't worry. Is the AC too much? Don't be shy. It's not interview. Eh? You what? Wear jacket, brother. Get used to it. So heaven is cold, though. So let's be practicing it. Hell is very hot. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Okay, now I need somebody. Just one. Another. The question is simple. 2. Boys, where are the guys? All you people know how to do is to struggle to be counselor. Answer question 3. Good guys. Please stand up. Microphone. Let's do this quickly. Ike, microphone. Let's start. I'll start. You know, we're going to break it down. I'll just ask. Let's start with her. There she is. Where are you going to? There she is. Okay. Now, you just tell me the markets this thing belongs to. Indomie. I called you, people did not answer.
Amen.
Ike, you are behaving like Ineko. And mic was not working. Okay, Indomie. Okay, say it loud.
Mass market.
Mass market. Hold on. Uncle. Delilah Pure Water. Mass market. Are you sure? Are you sure?
Yes.
Okay. And then Amala balls. Auntie?
Amalabo?
Amala balls.
Mass market.
Amala balls.
Amala.
Okay, you don't fail. Even without asking it this, you are failed.
Niche. Niche.
Amala balls.
Niche.
No, you said mass before.
Niche. I thought you meant general amala.
You are doing second, you are doing receipt. Okay, please, let's call them. Prof, sir. Indomie, she says mass market. Is she correct? Clap for her. Please. You give her one. Delilah Pure Water. You said mass market. But mass market, do they drink it in VGC? They hide to drink it.
They'll be hiding.
It's okay. It's okay. No problem. Then Amala balls. She said, first sitting, she said mass. Then receipt, she said niche. Which one is correct? Niche market. Niche market is correct. So you pass second sitting, you pass the second sitting. So they are correct, please. Clap for them. Thank you, thank you, thank you. All right, we are moving straight on now to the panel discussion. And we can remove this. I'm going to welcome to take care of this segment. I come, narrative. You are the chief coordinator. No, it's lady. It's not that bad. Now, these boys are still alive. They are still viral. Put it in that corner. Okay, so we're going to welcome in charge of this segment. You put your hands together when he comes, please. Because, oh man, you will see by yourself. You will understand. Once he steps up, you will know. He's looking at me with bad eye now. Don't worry, it won't work. Used to be former ED, Enterprise Bank, GM, FCMB, and Regional Director, UBA. Now he runs his own gig. He's the managing partner, Bolani Adversary. Please, let's put our hands together for Mr. Ni Adebayo. Put your hands together for. You see what I'm talking about? Yeah. I'm going to make his work longer, so you have to take the...
Thank you, Cordelia. Good morning. Is it still morning? Yeah. Afternoon. Good afternoon, everybody. Yes, we're going to quickly go to the next segment, which is a panel discussion to build on the presentation by Peter Bankole. And it will be for, I think, about 45 minutes. So I'm going to just introduce the panelists to come forward now so that we can get to business quickly. I'll start with Mr. Folorunsho Aliyu. Can you please step forward, Mr. Please give him a round of applause. Mr. Aliyu is the CEO and the Managing Director of Tenet Group, which is an ICT company that sees itself as a digital transformation company. Please be seated. He had worked with the company for about 19 years, rose through the ranks to become the CEO. Can we please applaud him for that? That's a faithful, diligent guy who worked his way to the top. He holds a Bachelor of Science degree in Computer Engineering from Obafemi Awolowo University, Ile-Ife, and a Master's of Business Administration, that's MBA from the Lagos Business School, and is a certified management consultant and a fellow of the Institute of Management Consultants of Nigeria. You're welcome. Thank you, sir. Next will be Mr. Anu Oluwapo Esho, who is a lawyer and an entrepreneur as well. He built a company from ground up from, I think, for about 25 years now. He's been running his own show. I was there, we celebrated his 25 years of his law firm. So he's a lawyer, he's an entrepreneur, and he's advised many companies, and he'll be sharing his knowledge today. He was called to the bar in 1990. He holds a master's degree in international law and diplomacy from UNILAG. He also attended the Lagos Business School as a member of the Chief Executive Program 22, and he's also gone to school internationally as well, IESE Business School, that's in Spain. He holds a wide degree of extensive knowledge in corporate and commercial law, M&A, intellectual property, protection, and administration. So he has a lot to share with us with respect to how to handle the legal aspect of running businesses. You're welcome, sir. Next will be Mr. Ademola Adebise, who is the MD CEO of Wema Bank Limited. He's a very experienced finance and management person. He has over 28 years experience spanning the area of accounting, management consulting, as well as banking, where he now sits on top of one of Nigeria's foremost and leading banks in Nigeria, that is Wema Bank. He used to be the head of performance management and finance practice at Accenture, Lagos office, which is now Teraki Limited, and he's been very instrumental to the turnaround of Wema Bank. Those of us who have followed the history of Wema and what is happening in recent times, we actually see some of the impact of the work that he has done. He's a fellow of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of Nigeria. He's also an associate of the Chartered Institute of Taxation and Computer Professionals. So Mr. Adebise, you're welcome. Please, a round of applause for him. And last, definitely, but not the least, we have a lady in the park. Her name is Ellen Emore. She's also a very entrepreneurial person. She's actually a woman with many parts. Many parts. She's many things rolled into what I would call a superwoman. She's an agribusiness specialist. You won't believe that. She will share that, I think, as time goes on. And she's also a business and project development expert. In recent past, she actually led for about 6 years, I believe, as the project director and sponsors representative during the development of master plan, business plan, and the PPP for the Warri Industrial Development Park, which was being built by the Delta State government. She was able to attract investment into that infrastructure development, and she made a success of it while she was there. She started her career over 24 years ago. Right now, she runs what is called Anti-Helen Food Processing Limited, which is an allied company that does groundnut oil milling, amongst other things. She's a woman that has many passions. She also does consulting and advises people as well. So about 3-4 hats she's wearing at the same time. So there's a lot that I believe people here can learn from this panel that we've put together. So can we just give a rousing applause to everybody? So I don't look too far away. Okay, then I think we'll also still bring Mr. Peter Bankole to, sir, your work here is not done. We will extract all the benefit you can get today. Please, I understand this last seat is for you. Please just join us. You already know him, so I'm not going to go into his profile. So we'll go to business straight away. And I think I would like to take it in the order in which we're seated. So I'll start from the extreme end by trying to pull Mr. Folonsho Ali into this discussion. He will be talking to us about entrepreneurship and the Christian faith, especially sharing the Telnet experience. Those of you may know, and if you don't, this is the smart word. Google Telnet, go to their website, and you have an idea of what the business is all about. It's an ICT company that helps people to digitalize their business. So, sir, my questions to you is, over the last 19 years, you've been at Telnet. You can tell the story of the company, how it has risen to what it is today and the success that it has made. As a Christian, how have you been able to function in that organization, and how do you see that some of the people here today who want to go into IT world can benefit from your experience? Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. It's a pleasure to be here. I think the first speaker, thank you very much, Ma. You were talking about David. I think you summarized the entire thing. As Christians, first and foremost, we need to understand that our lives are not just about us. We represent our master. So when we talk about being in a place, we need to understand that they were a representative of our master, and that drives everything. Mr. Bankole said, if God is your principal, what are you going to hide? And that is the edge you would have that would make the difference. Because if it's about running fast, there are people who run faster. If it's about knowledge, there are people who can read better. But if you have the backing of a master and you know it, the armor will not be your problem. Your sling will be more than enough in the hands of the master. Now, having said that background, Telnet started in '86, actually. And the owners of Telnet actually started with the principle that the black man can do great things. We can do excellent things. And that is what has driven everything we've done over the years. So I started in Telnet actually as an IT student. I walked into the place, I didn't know anyone. And when I got in there, I was told, oh, you were in Ife. Oh, your result is not bad. A few questions, and I was told to start that same day. I went to site day. And a brief background. Before then, I actually was working in a place where I was being paid 10,000. I was in IT in a place I was being paid 10,000. But I was hearing that there was a place where you could do bigger things. In that place I was paid 10,000. I was the only engineering student there. Other people were not really doing as much. So I was seen as a big boy. But I knew I needed to learn. So I left the place of 10,000 and I went to Telnet. The day I got to Telnet, they were paying them 1,500. And the day I got there, I realized that I left 10,000 for 1.5. But there was something about learning it was a different thing. There's something money cannot give you, and that stimulates your brain, the creativity. So I started with them, and when I got back after service, I started there. Now, there's a Don Diskomaki framework. I like frameworks a lot. I think you should take a look at. It talks about anything you do, you start first at a commodity level. No matter how good you are, BSc, whatever, is commodity. But you need to transit from there to what you call value addition, where you add value. All of you study computer science or computer engineering. But when you write your code, is it the same as everybody? Differentiation. So with time, you will be differentiated. Have you noticed when you work in an organization, in a department, everybody says, oh, we're all doing well. But when the boss comes and says, if you don't do it well, I will sack everybody. Choose one person amongst you that must deliver this. If the person messes up, everybody is sacked. Do you know usually everybody points to the same set of people? So it means the world is looking at you. Give it the best. So with time, I moved on in the system, and as I say, 19 years down the line, I've gone through being the MD of one of the subsidiaries and now the group CEO. Telnet believes that we are here to make a difference. And the difference is seeing your environment. What are the challenges? How can we make that difference with the knowledge, the skills, and the abilities that we have? Usually when you do that, money comes. If you focus on the cash first, it becomes a problem. Sorry, one last thing before I drop the mic. We also believe that money truly answers all things. The Bible never lies. The Bible says money answers all things. But when we think about it, we say, does money truly answer everything? Truly, money answers everything. The problem is our understanding of what money is. Money has 5 levels, and I'll go very quickly. It's a framework that we use. The first level of money, when we look at the definition of money in economics, they say is anything that is generally acceptable as a means of exchange for goods and services. So let's use that. The very lowest form of money is actually cash or currency. That's the lowest form of money. Why? The value is capped. If I give you ₦1 million today, it is ₦1 million until you add value to it.
Please, sir, can you just try to round up so that others can have a chance to...
After that, you go into the next level, which is competence. Competence is based on knowledge, skills, and ability. Above that is character. That is what distinguishes you. It's money that you can exchange. Above that is credible relationship. And above all is your credibility. That is the highest form of money. And that is what, as Christians, we must have. Don't stay at the level of just cash or currency. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. I appreciate that. That was useful. Just as a guide, so we have a structure to this. We have just about 30 minutes more to run for this section. So what we're doing now is to have opening statements by each of the panelists, which will be for about maybe 3 minutes, so that we can also have time at the back end for us to get involved. That's the audience, so that you can ask questions from them and try to address specific needs that you might have. So I'll move quickly to Anu. You've been an entrepreneur running your own law firm for 25 years. What are the things that you've seen in the course of your time advising people on how to run their businesses that I think are important from the legal perspective? There are many people here who are looking to set up companies and all that. How will you advise them from, as a lawyer, what they need to watch out for and what they need to do? Thank you.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, everybody.
3 minutes, please.
What I would like to say here, I'll first of all say from the Christian perspective, and I'll quickly run into what I think we should do. The passage of the Bible that encourages me every day is Habakkuk chapter 3, verse 17. It says, although the fig tree shall not blossom, neither shall the fruit by the vines, the labor of the olive shall fail, and the field shall yield no meat. The flock shall be cut off from the fold, and there shall be no head in the stalls. Yet I will rejoice in the Lord. I will joy in the God of my salvation. Why do you need to have a legal structure in your business? The first thing you need to look at is the fact that you're starting small, but you're going to grow big. So you must have your eye on the ball, and you must also create a legal structure. And in the legal structure, you have to look at it and say to yourself from day one, how do I want to flow? Do I want to have a business name? Do I want to have a limited liability company? Do I want to be not-for-profit? But the first thing we need to look at is to say to ourselves, this is the culture of how we want to run our business. And what I would always advise is no matter how small you are today, the sky is the limit. You have opportunity, because at every given time, it is the way you run your business that you will see this thing that we, all Christians, that we say to ourselves, time and chances. You know, life is just about that. When you have a chance, when you see opportunity. So it's always better for you to put your business in a legal structure, and also to say to yourself that you will do things right. No matter if you're in Nigeria, like the last speaker says, don't look at Nigeria. Look at the future. Look at the fact that the business is going to go beyond you today, and it will also explode beyond your imagination. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Can we make it louder, please? Thank you. Thank you. So we'll move quickly to Mr. Adebishe, banker extraordinaire. I'm sure a lot of you who have ideas are already looking to get his card so that you can ask him for finance at the end of this session. So he's just going to be talking about that. So my question will be straightforward. So which sources are out there in terms of finance, and how do we position as entrepreneurs for this? And how do we even identify the investors? Over to you, sir.
Thank you very much, Nee. I'd like to want to thank the organizers for inviting me for this session. In terms of financing for entrepreneurs or SMEs, there are various sources of financing, but I would want to split it into two. Either you get a loan or you go for equity. Now, if you're going for a loan could be for the informal or formal sector. Informal from friends, families, and all that. And then formal from the banks or finance companies. Now, there are various things that they look out for. We'll just talk through that. In terms of equity, there are various ways you can get equity. That's what we call private equity. You could also put in your own money into the business as equity. There's also what we call crowdfunding these days. We use technology to pull investors from all over the world together. Again, this came out from the Silicon Valley business models for generating capital. So these are various ways which you can, but they all have different pros and cons in terms of which option to go for. But underlying everything is the fact that you need to have not just an idea, but the idea must make sense. The idea must speak to a market that is there. And you must have the knowledge, the skills to be able to put this through. Because investors are interested in your capacity to be able to execute. You can have the best ideas, come before an angel investor. By the way, that's also another way of an angel investor. Coming for an angel investor, making a pitch, and they're struggling with beautiful ideas. Mr. Bankole said it. If it cannot dovetail into cash, then you're just going through an hobby. So it's important that all these things are put into perspective. Because of time, I may not be able to go in deep into the various ways of generating finance. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Can I please give him a round of applause? Thanks. That was really very useful. One of the things he said was angel investors, and I know given that we're in a church, and most of the people here, even all are Christians, it will be interesting to hear maybe further down the line how angels from heaven are going to be giving us money to run these companies. But I will move on. So if you have a question on that, please feel free to raise that after. To Helen. As I said, Helen has been an entrepreneur for about 24 years, doing different things, and today he runs maybe 3-4 different businesses. So the question basically is, How have you been able to do this in view of the volatility in the Nigerian environment? And if I may, also the hostility that we feel, because everybody talks about the fact that the Nigerian environment is very hostile to business. It's tough to start business. And here you are, you're doing about 3-4 things at the same time. Also as a woman, so how as a woman, especially for the young ladies who are here, how as a woman have you been able to address this? So basically the gender perspective as well as how to deal with the tough operating environment. Thank you.
All right. Good afternoon, everyone. Let me start from the last question. I like to say to people that as an obirimeta, ọkùnrin méjì in one, for those of you who don't understand Yoruba, I'm 3 women in one and 2 men in one. So people joke and tell me that, call me that jokingly, and I laugh. I say, yes, but you have to be really tough to survive anywhere. And without disclosing my age, for about 50 years that I have been sensible enough to know what's happening in the world, I have never heard any conversation, never, that, oh, this is a season of abundance. My father had, if you don't laugh, I will tell you how many children he has. But because I know you will laugh, I won't tell you. But my father had so many children that things changed rapidly. He had to think of feeding 22 children plus 4 other people, 26, at any point in time. So he couldn't afford to stay still. But then, all through these years, I never heard that things were good. What does it mean? Things have always been volatile. And there's a book called The Financial History of the World by Neil Ferguson. If you read the financial history of the world, right from the earliest entrepreneurs, there has always been volatility. There have always been cycles of abundance and lack. And at each cycle of lack, there's innovation. New things happen. So for me, you must, as an individual, always check what's happening in the environment. Always pick signals. Some people tell me that I don't watch Nigerian TV, and I'm like, so what do you watch? CNN? I don't know, I don't listen to, what are you listening to? You need to know what's happening in the environment, because that's what's going to tell you the next wave. So you cannot stay in one place. We are in the era where people will be called portfolio workers. The future of work, the future of business means you have to be aware of so many things happening. Therefore, you must be quick to change. You must be flexible. You must be adaptable. You cannot stay in one place. What made you successful yesterday will not make you successful tomorrow. So you should know where is the future of Nigeria's economy. Where are the next areas where there will be income, where there will be prosperity, where there will be investments. So you need to be able to know what's happening around you and be quick to adapt. That is what makes you grow. That is what makes you a successful entrepreneur. And like Mr. Bankole said earlier, we have to be creative. And that's where the real meat of entrepreneurship is.
Thank you, Ellen. Can you please appreciate her with a round of applause? So we go back to Mr. Bankole. He lives in the, what I'll call the knowledge economy, people who teach others about knowledge, about how to be better at what they do. So it's probably come across, not probably, certainly across many entrepreneurs and businessmen, as students, as collaborators who are trying to push the frontiers of knowledge. So my question to you would be just to tell us 2-3 things, because as you know, most businesses, or if you don't, you wait today, most businesses will die in the first 5 years. The World Bank says about 65% of the companies ever formed everywhere in the world will die within the first 5 years, 65% of them. So what are those things that make these companies fail from what you've seen? What advice would you have for the audience today on how to avoid those pitfalls?
Hello? Okay. So I will try to start by describing a situation. Imagine a learner driver going in a crowded street at top speed, blindfolded. Let me go back again. Imagine a learner driver going on a crowded street at top speed, blindfolded, what do you think will happen? Okay, it's all right. Whatever your answer is, okay. That is a graphical illustration of somebody that is not well grounded in knowledge when you are going into business. Even from the Christian perspective, what do we hear? My people perish. For what? It's not me that said that one. But that's the reality. And so if you're going into business, it is not even a matter of negotiation. You are better off when you are well equipped. That's the first thing. The second thing is that for you to grow, even after the knowledge you have, I told you something about the future of work now is around ecosystem thinking. It means you alone can never play it on your own. In fact, my people say that it is asheju when you call one man foreman. How can one man, like, sorry, I mean. But one man can even be more than foreman if you are in the company of people that are able to raise you. And so we're able to do great things because we stand not with, but on the shoulders of what? Of giants. And that is why when you are in a network, and you must belong to a network, you can do a lot of things. There are some times I don't have a solution. But when I remember that I'm in a network, I will say, don't worry. Before evening, I will find the solution. And okay, and then the last one is that no matter what you do, no matter your intelligence, no matter everything, please always remember that there is a giver of that intelligence. Never arrogate these things to yourself. Be humble enough to accept that you are a custodian of that intelligence. Whatever that means to you, please interpret it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Bankole. Please, can we get the roving mic ready so that we can go to the audience now for Q&A. We'll be doing that for about maybe 10 minutes, and then we just round up. So we need to take a few questions. But as that is being done, so if you have a question, can you please raise your hand so that we can move the mics to you, so that you can ask the question. But one of the things I also feel is important to mention is from the first speaker, which is about entrepreneurship. One of the things you notice, not just about him and some of the other people, especially Mr. Adebishi as well, is that you don't really have to also start a company to be an entrepreneur. You can become one by joining a company and ultimately rising to the top there. And if you ask both of them, they probably have equity interest in the companies where they work, even though they didn't really start it. So sometimes there's not just one way to the top. You can have different routes that enables you to succeed, because that's really what this is all about. And ultimately being happy in the Lord. And I pray that God will enable all of us in Jesus' name. So can we have the first question, please? Or everything is clear, we all understand what to do, we can all go now and become billionaires. So can we have questions? Should I ask the first question?
Mic.
Okay, there's a mic, there's a hand there, please. Can you give her the mic? We're going to be awarding some sort of reward for participation, so be mindful of that. So can we have the question quickly, please?
My question is to you, Mr. Bankole. So with everything you said to us today, first and foremost, my name is Adaizi, and I run an interior design brand called Ava Lifestyle Consulting, which I started off about 2 years ago. And I started working for free for an interior architect because I had to learn. It's not my background. So I worked for free for about a year plus. and then I went off on my own. And I started getting jobs by just reaching out to friends and trying to get them to give me their space. So I would do free designs. I'll put together designs, and then I'll pitch it to them, and then they'll say, okay, go ahead and execute. That was how I started before I started getting paid. So for about a year plus, I was practically very, very broke. But luckily for me, I was living with my parents, so I didn't have to.
Can you please hit the question quick?
Yes, I'll get to the question. So my question is, with everything you've said, if I'm to come to you with a design for maybe a space, and I possess all the qualities you mentioned, the 7 things an entrepreneur should have, I'm proposing like a social value to the economy, etc., etc. What would you be looking for, or what wouldn't I have as a person that would make you not give me the job? Because I had an experience recently with someone in the oil sector where I did a pitch for a design for a space, and he liked my design, he liked everything I presented, but he said I was young. Not that I couldn't deliver. I had short projects I've delivered on. I did a free design, put together a concept.
I think you've asked the question. Can you
Yes.
please just let Mr. Bankole answer? So we'll note that. Let's just take as many questions as we can so that we can be efficient. We have just less than 10 minutes to go on this. Okay, please.
Thank you very much. When it comes to business, you were saying, you were talking about when you grow to a point, or when you are growing in your business, you need to start thinking of probably synergizing, networking to grow. If you are running a business and you get to that point where you feel you need people to join you, or you need partners. Okay, I had an instance where somebody offered me money to, join the business that I do. And at the point when we were talking, he said, all he has to offer is just this money. Oh. I have to do everything. And he will just be taking returns, that he's not going to be involved in anything. He just wants to put money. I didn't take it. I didn't take that money because it was as if he was, he was just saying, I'm going to put money and I'm not going to do anything. So what I want to ask is, when you get to that point where you feel you need somebody maybe to join so that you can expand better and reach, other frontiers, and you seem not to be getting the kind of person you need. You are not getting the kind of person you want, or the kind of person you feel will be good or will help the business you are doing. At that point, is it still possible to go ahead? And because they keep saying that when you try growing your business to a certain stage, you really need to start involving partnership or thinking of partnership to grow. So is this something you can still do alone and ignore partnership, or is it compulsory to go into partnership?
Okay, thank you. I think that will also go to Banky, and maybe perhaps Mr. Ali, you can also help. Yes, please. So we'll take about 5, and then we'll have the panelists respond. Please go ahead.
Okay. My question is this. If somebody has a very bright idea, he puts it together, he has a business plan, he brings it up to somebody who can come in to partner, and he looks at it, but because he doesn't have the means, he's bringing in somebody and then they are aging him out. How do you handle, what do you advise to somebody that has that experience? Because he makes some people hold back. I have a good idea. I've reviewed it with somebody who has interest, bankable, but then you've had this experience that you were aged out, you are holding back, you don't want to progress again. How would one get through that trap?
Thank you. If I understand correctly, how do you defend your intellectual property and don't get pushed out of the company after you brought in partners? That's the question, right? Okay, thank you. So that will be the last question. Then we'll do a round of response before, if we have time, then we can take other questions. Yes, please.
I'm Onwekol Watimlane David. I run a mobile tech store called Electrolyte. So I have 3 questions to ask.
Please make it quick.
Yes, I'll make it quick.
Please. Thank you.
Okay. First of all, the challenges while starting out a business that you faced and how you overcome them. And if you have a partner that you started a business with, how can you seemingly, and that will be for our lawyers, sir, how can you seemingly let them go without any, without it infringing on your business or any loss? How can you let them go? Then, how do you overcome the fear factor, sir? That's Mr. Aliyu. When you entered one of the companies, that's Telnet, the fear factor of entering the company, and then how do you pass the security men? Because I've been turned back a lot because I didn't book an appointment or anything. So then the last one, when you're pitching your idea, what are the things you shouldn't put inside to ensure that it's not stolen? That's for our lawyers, sir. What are the things that you should leave out of it when you're pitching the idea to investors?
Okay, thank you very much. I think the last 2 speakers, most of the questions, if not all, are for Anu to respond to. Well, I'll let him think through those questions, but I'll start with Mr. Bankole, who I believe should be ready with the response for the questions asked earlier.
Okay, thank you. Let me start with Adeze. Adeze, Helen was just whispering to me that you came prepared. That is the way, and those with entrepreneurial mindset must come to occasions like this. So you want to get answers and you want to get things quickly. So well done for that. Number one, it's a strategy to start with what we call freebies. It's actually a business model to offer things for free. But very quickly, you want to move to another business model that is called pay what you want. So if everything is free, then there is no value that is seen. Then if you tell the person, pay what you want, the people that use this a lot are the mechanics. They say, oh, God, just give me anything you like. So you know that they've gotten you. And it depends on you. You can pay a bit more than even their expectation. For me, so the person that liked, in quote, what you are doing but didn't had reasons, the person is not your target market. That one, 100% I am sure. If sincerely I like what you do, I will start you with something small. Something that if you mess up, I will not die. It will not affect my business. This is how we start you. But what you should do is that there is nothing wrong with being young. It's even very good. Try and get a mentor or mentors. And those people will sell you and sell your product or whatever you do. So that's, again, coming back to network. Is money everything? Sorry, it's not true. When you want to go into this kind of arrangement, the first thing you should think about is what we call value alignment. Whoever is giving you money, make sure there is an alignment. If the person is only going to give money, then let it be loan. It has nothing to do with partnership. The person give me X, I put a percentage on it, I pay you, you are not part of me. However, everything is not about partnership, even when you want to grow. There are different business models. So franchising is a clear example, and you can expand very rapidly through a franchise model. Now, this question around you have a good idea, can somebody steal it or somebody stealing it? I hear it every day when I'm teaching, and I tell you it's because you do not have a good value proposition. Nobody can steal your idea. Nobody. Even before you patent it. Because it will be unique. It will be different. It will be like that green goldfish. I'm going to stop so that
Thank you.
Anu can
Thank
do
you. I think we're. Thank you. Can we just appreciate that quickly? So we'll move over to Anu just to talk about the legal questions that were raised, and then Mr. Ali will chip in a little bit about how to go through the structures that prevent job seekers to access companies, security and the like, receptionists and all that. Please,
okay, quickly. Let me say this to you quickly. When you are setting up a business, don't give out shares free of charge. Never do that. There must be a value for the shares with your partner. Now, how do you let your partner go? As a rule, if you are starting business, even if you are starting as a small business, you must have a shareholders agreement. The shareholders agreement is your Bible. The shareholders agreement is going to govern everything you are going to do, profit, how you are going to run the business, and the time for you to terminate the business will be in the shareholders agreement. So that's why I said from beginning that you must have a structure. If you don't have a structure from day one, to get your partner out, it will be difficult. Now, if you give him free shares, he will hold on to those shares, and he will say that whichever way, you guys did free shares. So for every business, and I'm addressing each and every one of us here, that you set up, you must make sure there's value in it in terms of at least contribution, equity contribution. Very, very important. Secondly, if you pitch for an idea, like Banky has said, creativity, there must be something in you that they cannot steal. And that is why it is original. Now, the only thing you can do, and for you to be very professional when you go for a pitch, it will tell them to sign an NDA, a non-disclosure agreement. At least you have that in place and say to them that, well, I'm going to make this pitch. It is original to me, but I want you guys to sign an NDA for me. NDA is pretty much standard, one page, and then they sign. But you see, once you create something, it is difficult for them to steal it. And I'll say this to you, businesses are not like barbing salon, or like the first speaker said, like pure water. You must distinguish yourself in whatever that you are giving out, and also that. So essentially, that's what you have to do. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much. So, Mr. Aliyu, how do you find your way into companies, even when the the security and the receptionists are trying not to allow you in?
Okay, thank you.
At least get a foot in it, though.
Yeah, there are so many ways, but I think about two very quickly. And I think this, if I say this, if it doesn't apply, please let me know. One of the things I found is you can actually write directly to the CEO. A lot of people don't even know this. More often than not, CEOs actually respond to you. I've had people off the road just write to me. They found my email and all that on the internet. Most people have their details on the internet. A mail. Most CEOs I know that are my friends actually will respond to you very courteously. People don't write. You stay at the gate. The gate man wants to be the lord of the manor over there, so he bosses you. But it also depends on what you write. If you write to the CEO begging or creating whatever, go straight to the point and speak value. CEOs are looking for values. They would respond. That I know. Second thing is, even when you must go through the gate, I did this when I was serving. You could never catch me wearing that NYSC uniform outside NYSC office. Once I've done with my NYSC, I wore suit. No matter how simple the suit was, I wore suit. And you know what? Power suits have a way of opening doors. The gate man will greet you, say, good afternoon. Who do you want to see? I like to see the CEO. That's all. More often than not, before they think, they will open the gate for you. And it depends on how you carry yourself. Comportment is very important. So don't go there slouching, begging to see. More often than not, you won't see. Let me just stop there.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. I know our time's up, but I would like Anu to build on that. And I also will ask a finance question. Some of you, I know you're looking for money, but you haven't asked questions. So I'll help you. So,
okay, let me quickly.
Please,
let me quickly
2-3 more minutes.
Okay, let me quickly make you enjoy this afternoon. About 20 years ago, I was on Broad Street myself. And I knocked every door on Broad Street, on Marina, Broad Street, to say to them, I'm a very good lawyer, I'm a smart lawyer. I did not get anybody to talk to me. I'm sure my suit it used to be black, but it was now gray. You know how it is. Black now turned gray. Now the strategy for it, and I'll say this to you guys, you guys don't read. You don't do research. And I can tell you, for everyone that has come here to speak to you today, how many of you Googled each and every one of us here to see who we are? No, I'm sure if I take a roll call here, you didn't do it. Because you just assume that, okay, let them just come and talk to me. But let me tell you this. Information is business. For you to go and speak to the MD of First Bank, you must have something you want to talk to him. The first thing is, do you even know the person that is the MD of First Bank? Have you done a background research of the person that is First Bank? Have you gone to the website, or do you know the directors of First Bank? So you don't know. And that's number one. Number two, which I'll just quickly say here, your sphere of influence in the church and the people that you meet, do they know what you do? Where you live, do they really know what you do? Or you just go out at 6 a.m. and come back at 6 p.m. So you don't tell them a good story about yourself. So they don't know you. So the influence of the person sitting next to you in church at a party, I don't say, oh, one party. Oh, one party is just noise. You might not hear. But the people sitting next to you in a function like this can be the next person that will open that door for you. So essentially, you are just going around the bend, going round and round and round. But the solution is just next door here, and you need to take advantage of it. Thank you.
Thank you, Anu. So my question is, maybe Helen can talk, but my question to Mr. Debishe is, you know, the Bible says it's easier for the camel to pass through the eye of the needle than for a rich man to enter the kingdom of God. And somebody was telling me that to get money from banks is even more difficult than a camel passing through the eye of the needle. So, what can the average entrepreneur who is starting a business really do to get himself or get in the front of not just an investor, but get the investor to be converted? What are the critical things? Now, let's forget about what the books tell us or what they teach in business school. But what are those things that are soft areas and attitudinal things that you would like to just chip in that will help to get the investor to be interested? Maybe in 2-3 lines, then we can wrap up.
Yeah, the very first thing, the investor wants to feel the passion. You must be convincing, you know, as an entrepreneur. You must be hungry. Adaise, I think, is one example.
Two. Clap for her, please.
2, you must exude confidence and you must show that you know your stuff. Knowledge is very, very key. You cannot be a lazy person and succeed. 3 is the fact that you need to have that execution capacity. Now, what do we mean by execution capacity? It's not just having passion. You put it down properly, articulate it, right? Do all the research that you need to do to know exactly how you deal with all the key issues around staffing, around how to get capital, you know, the business model itself. And the one thing that is very key about the business model, we've been talking about value proposition, we've been talking about uniqueness, but it's all around business model. What will differentiate you? Uber, Airbnb, Taxify, all these companies, they change their business model. Uber is into transport, but they don't have one single vehicle. Airbnb, they are into real estate, but they don't have one property. You know, so all these things you need to look at all this. Business model is the bottom, is the key beyond just passion. You know, so I think it's important. Capital, I'll probably rank it 3rd or 4th in the scheme of all things. Now, in terms of capital, access to funding, there are various ways. At different levels, you can have funding. Today, we have a lot of intervention funds. The central bank, there is the AXMISE, Agri Small Scale SME Fund. Now, this is based on 5% of profit after tax of banks that we all decided that we put together in one pool. Now, you can access it for 7 years, 5 years at 5%. Now, the criteria is that you go through that exercise of going through the fire. You need to be knowledgeable. They certify a place like Banki's EDC. You have to go through, show that you've gone through it. They will then recommend you to have access to this. Very, very easily, you can have up to 10 million, if not more, on that fund. There are other ones as you scale up. There are other intervention funds. There's a 200 billion intervention funds of the central bank that also you can access. Again, all these things have different criteria, different things. It's not about, funding is going to be difficult, but if you have the fund, if you have the knowledge, if you have the passion, and if you have a unique value proposition, you will definitely get funding. Now, angel investor, I don't know whether I can. Now, there are also human beings, people who have had relatively good success in life, made some money, and they're ready to invest in good ideas, So you go before them, make a pitch, and if your pitch is interesting, you can show the uniqueness, the value proposition you're putting on the table. You can show that, yes, there's a market for it, and you can also demonstrate the numbers and how you arrive at those numbers. Clearly, they will put money into it. They can put money into it either in form of a loan or in form of equity. So that is the issue of angel investors. So lots of ways. Crowdfunding, I don't know whether I should talk about that.
You mentioned that already.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you very much. We appreciate you. Helen will do a 30-second talk, and then please, can you put up Banki's takeaway slide? The takeaway slide for Banki, please, and then we'll wrap up here.
Okay, so
Thank you.
What I didn't want to leave here without saying is that a lot of people have ideas, but they are afraid to start. That's one. Then two, you have an idea, but you don't want to start small. You want somebody to bring a lot of money. I started my groundnut oil business with 50,000 naira, and now I know how much we are doing. So you must be willing to start small. Just because you have an idea for a big project or a big business does not mean you must start with 1 million naira. You can start with 10,000 naira. They say think big, start small. It's real and it works. So we should humble ourselves, put something in that your idea. Nobody will steal it. And demonstrate that it can work. Go and use your own money. Sell your car, sell your house, sell something and show that you believe in your idea before you ask Wema Bank MD to come and give you a loan. Thank you.
Thank you, Helen. Please, can we have that slide, the media group upstairs? That's Banki's presentation slide called Takeaway. If you just look through, you'll see it. Okay. I'm sure it's towards the end.
Okay, so while they are doing it, let me just announce it anyway. There are three things on the takeaway. The first one is what we call the Kickstart Nigeria. Kickstart Nigeria. Move towards the end, very end. Now, Kickstart, how many of you have heard of Kickstart Nigeria? You see, again, how many of us have phones with internet? So this is the problem. You have to just try. You have to try. So in the last 6 weeks, we've been running it, and we have only 5 days left. It's going to close on the 15th of August, and they are giving people with ideas. If your ideas can pass through the fire properly, is good. They can give you up to 3 million naira as grant. They won't charge you. On top of it, they will train you, they will mentor you. And so it's important that you do this. The second one, for you to be current, please go to smetoolkit.ng, register there. Any opportunity that comes, you will be the first to know. So even if you are not listening or you are not checking, you will get an email alert. And finally, by Q4 this year, maybe early next year, MasterCard Foundation is coming to Nigeria. And they want to create up to 30 million dignified jobs across Africa and between 8 and 10 million in Nigeria. They are focusing on 2 areas. One is the agriculture space, and the second is the creative industries. So if you are in any of these 2 and you are 35 and under, this is your time. They will give you what it takes to be able to make that happen. I wanted to make sure, even right now as we are talking, Sherry Blair Foundation is doing something on her ventures. But if you go to that smetoolkit.ng and register there, any opportunity that comes, you will be the first to know. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Can we please give another round of applause onto the panelists? Thank you. I think my takeaway basically is With all thy getting, get what? Get understanding. This session is not supposed to make you an expert as you walk out of here. But what it does is it plants a seed. And if you're really, truly serious and you have that fire, and you have that entrepreneurship or entrepreneurial mindset, you will walk out of here thinking, I need to search, I need to seek knowledge, I need to network, I need to do what I need to do to bring my idea to life. And I pray that God will help all of us in Jesus' name. God bless you. I understand there's a bit of presentation that we need to do to the panelists. Please remain on the stage while that is being arranged. Thank you. I know Auntie Cordelia wants us out. We'll soon be out of here. Thank you very much. Okay, there are a couple of books here. Are they for sale? Okay, do you want to?
Thank you. About 7 years ago, I did a national project, and I had an opportunity to recruit about 109 engineers nationwide.